Zionism is stupid. It's nonsensical. It's intellectually incoherent. It's an identity crisis, an identity theft. It's nonsensical. And the solution is very simple. If the Supreme Court of Israel would have ruled that there is such a thing as an Israeli nationality, one person, one vote, there's no more, you don't need, and if they would rule not like Netanyahu, Avigdor Lieberman, that Israel is not the country of the Jewish nationality. Get rid of the nation-state law of 2018. Reverse it. The problem is not that Israel should not exist. The problem is it does not exist. It's only a doing business name. It's the state of the Jewish nationality. It's the Jewish nation state doing business as the state of Israel. And it gives people citizenship of the state of Israel. And their passport, it says your nationality is Israeli. So the world can see, oh, Israel's a normal country. But it's not a normal country because there is no country where the nationality is similar to the Israeli nationality. That it is the nation state of people that have nothing to do with Israel, never had anything to do with the Israeli state. Never mind that in order to become part of this nationality, the only way to do it is by a religious conversion. And you have to believe in the religion. To a country where the prime minister doesn't believe in the religion. It's insane.
The laws are incoherent.
The ideology is incoherent, okay. Not the laws. The ideology of remember,
no, but in terms
remember,
of
they said that's the definition of a Jewish state.
Yep.
The idea of a Jewish state is incoherent. It's not technical laws. These define what a Jewish state is.
Well, your solution would be to, accept an Israeli nationality and treat everyone essentially equally, and accept that you do not represent all world Jewry.
You only represent Israelis like any normal country.
Yeah. But that's a solution.
That's right.
But here's the thing with that. How would that stop? Okay, I hear what you're saying. It makes sense to me what you're saying. But that wouldn't stop the wars necessarily either, right?
Well,
that wouldn't stop the expansionist element.
Well,
necessarily.
Well, it depends what you mean by expansionist element. Currently, we're talking right now about Israel, Gaza, West Bank. If all of that would just be one country called Israel, and they can change the name. I don't care if they call it Israel or Herzlstan or Palestine. It makes no difference to me. Or Holy Land, that was my idea.
Yeah.
On another podcast, Holy Land, right? I don't care. Let the citizens decide what to call it. It makes no difference to me.
Okay.
One country. You know, you want to know a real solution? Instead of Donald Trump buying Greenland or Canada, let Israel become the 51st state of the United States of America. They have 51st state solution. How's that? 51 state solution.
Not sure, yeah.
I know it's not real, but in theory, if they would become like another state, not of America, but if they would become their own state, they can even call it the state of Israel if it's the 51st state.
Well, that would, but essentially,
there would be
dissolving
wars
the
between
government.
who and who. Why would there be wars? One person, one vote, one land, one country. But you see this one state solution that they talk about, people think you got to fight wars and they got to be killing and death and blood. And no, the whole state only exists. This state that they want to eradicate doesn't even exist except on paper.
That's the same with all states.
No, America is
the state.
No. America is the state of the American citizens. Israel is not the
on paper.
Yeah, but there are real American citizens, and America is designed. America is designed to serve the American citizens. But Israel, which is the name of the country, is not designed to serve the Israeli citizens.
Okay.
It's designed to serve a Jewish nation. That's the difference. Israel, as the Israeli country, only exists on paper as a country because there is no Israeli nation. There is no Israeli nationality. That's what I'm saying. Change that law. There is no Jewish nationality anymore. There is only an Israeli nationality. Israel is the nationality, and let Israel exist in the sense that other countries exist. There's an Italian nationality, and you want to make it the nation state of the Italians, make Israel the nation state of the Israelis. If you're an ethnic Israeli, make a law of return that if you were in Israel, Your grandchildren who are now citizens of Mexico can return to Israel. Israel, other countries don't, they were made by a paper document, but they function as a functional country, meaning the citizens are citizens of the nation, and the nation is made for the citizens. Israel is not made for the citizens. It's made for a nationality that is different than all other nationalities, a nationality that you can only convert to with a religious conversion. You can't be nationalized into it. And by law, by their law, the people who are not part of that religion / nationality do not have self-determination rights. Even if they are citizens and they are Zionists and they buy into the ideology, this is incoherent. It's not the laws. The laws are creating the country. The laws are creating all this friction because Israel wants to be... Look, the very idea that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, you saw why. This is the prime minister of Israel that goes around trying to make everybody believe anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. You saw why he said anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. Because France is to the French what Israel is to the Jews. Make France is to the French what Israel is to the Israelis. And you'll solve that problem right away. All of these problems, people think that the reason why Israel wants anti-Zionism to be anti-Semitism in order to silence criticism of Israel. That is a secondary or thirdary reason. The main reason is because Zionism aims to make Israel the state of the Jews. The Jewish identity and Israeli identity, the same thing. And therefore, if you get rid of the philosophy, you get rid of these, you get rid of the nonsensical, logically incoherent national structure, then you let it function like a normal country. The citizens and the nationality and the country,
right?
the relationship,
democracy.
the relationship. Yeah, but is it democracy now for the Jews?
No, but a representative.
A representative, not of a citizen, not of the nationality of the citizens.
Yeah.
That's the thing. In other words, it's the nationality structure that needs to change. It is a democracy, but it's a democracy of Jews who live there.
Am I right in saying you protested against the a potential Israeli law conscripting Orthodox Jews to the IDF?
Absolutely true.
How would that favour in a democratic state where all the citizens are treated equally?
Then the Israeli army is different than any other army in the world.
It's just funny because I'm only laughing because it's like a running theme across it, isn't it? It's like
it's one idea. That's exactly my point.
It's like everything you pointed out here
is all the same thing.
It's unlike any other nation. It's unlike any other. Yeah.
For one reason.
Yeah.
Because of their trying to create a nationality out of a religion, even if you're not religious. But you don't become part of a nationality if you convert to the religion. This nonsensical idea, don't forget, Israel is the Jewish state, the state of the Jews. They don't have a coherent definition of Jewish state, Jews, nation of the Jews. That's the one problem that if you solve it, everything else is downstream from there. When Ben-Gurion, he was the first prime minister, he said, I think it was the 1951 election, around there, he said, we have a country, but we don't have a nation. We need a nation because there were so many Jews. By the way, the Zionists were banking at the beginning of the 20th century that the Jews from Europe would move to Israel and there would be like kind of a European Enlightenment type Jewish culture in Israel. But then came the Holocaust and the Jews in Europe were wiped out. They had to take a lot of Oriental Jews, from Arab Jews from those countries, and there was such a mix and match, and they were religious, non-religious. They didn't count on this motley crew of different types of Jews. So they need, and they have nothing in common. When I told you that Jews in Ethiopia, Yemen, they have nothing in common, the Jews in Israel had nothing in common.
Right, at the time.
At the time. So how do you make a nation out of a country? That's what Ben-Gurion said. So here was his answer. There were two answers. One, the educational system. He hired a guy, Ben-Zion Diner. to create a fake Jewish history that the Jews always wanted self-determination, and to twist that everything, all the aspirations and the natural trajectory of the Jewish people was to create a state of Israel. But the more important thing, because the Haredim, the religious Jews, do not go to the secular education system. They have their own private religious education system, is the army. The army in Israel is a melting pot. That was Ben Gurion's phrase. It makes everybody into Israelis.
Right.
And it's an educational institution. The Israeli army, I don't have the book over here, but I have it in my book. I actually quoted it about the officer's training manual. And the IDF was shown to have the following topics for discussion. The officer's training manual. What is Judaism? Is Judaism a religion, a civilization, a nationality? Kiddush Hashem, martyrdom, loosely translated. Sanctifying God's name. It means literally dying for your religion. In Judaism, what does it mean? It's a discussion in the army. They teach you about Judaism. Because don't forget, Judaism is the nationality of Israel. They use the Israeli army as an educational camp for Zionism. By way of analogy, if England, there's a Church of England officially. Let's say the British Army, right? Or Navy. Let's say the Navy back in the olden days, right? The British Navy, they would teach you, a Muslim would come, what your imams taught you about Islam, or what your priests taught you about Christianity is wrong. The government will tell you what a real Christian is. Christian is a national. A Muslim is a national. And we have a history. And this is a church. This is not a military. Right. Israel's military functions not merely as a military, but also as an indoctrination camp for the Zionist godless religion / ideology. A godless religion, but a religion nonetheless.
Okay, but let's say
Israel would be a normal country. It would not be called Israel. It would be called Holy Land, and it would be a regular democracy. It would not represent. Then it'd be like Canada. And then guess what? They would not want to draft the yeshiva guys.
Why?
Because the only reason why they want to draft the yeshiva guys is because they want to change them into Zionists. Israel has a problem, and it's a problem all over. There's discussion all over the Israeli government. The Haredim are not Zionists. That's a problem. I have over in this JPPI.
It's a demographic issue.
It's a demographic issue. And they are the fastest growing demographic, the fastest growing community, and they are the most anti-Zionist. I have over here the statistics from the JPPI.
Well, I'm just curious, if it was one state, if they did away with this whole Zionism, it doesn't represent, world Jewry. Essentially, if they implemented your solution, would you have an issue? Would you protest against conscription of Orthodox Jews to the IDF?
No, but then there would not be conscription of Orthodox Jews to the IDF.
No, wouldn't be. Let's say everyone had to serve. There's countries where everyone has to serve. Yeah,
but that's true. But the Orthodox, first of all, they don't need them.
No, but I'm asking you the question.
Yes, no, I would not.
You wouldn't?
I would not. If somebody then doesn't want to serve, let him leave the country. If Canada United States had a draft in the Vietnam War.
Right.
I was not old enough to get drafted, but I had friends who were. By the way, they did not conscript the yeshiva students.
Okay.
The rabbinical students were exempt.
The yeshiva,
yeshiva means the rabbinical academies, I guess.
Okay. I thought the yeshiva were the pre-Israel Jews.
Oh no, it's the same word. That's yeshuv.
Oh right. Oh, the yeshuv, yeah.
No, it's the same. Sorry, it's the same root. No, you're right. It's the same.
My mistake,
it's the same. Yeshuv.
Yeshuv,
Leishev means to sit. And loosely, a loose translation or a branch of that word is a yeshiva, which means a study hall where people study place. Right. It also means the yeshuv, a town.
Okay.
A place. So they're related words, right? But yeshiva is a rabbinical academy from elementary school to past people who are married, and they were exempt. But then leave the country. A country has a right, if they really do. Israel doesn't want to draft the yeshiva students because they need them in the army. They want to draft them because we have documentation of this a lot. They want to draft them because they're not Zionists and the only indoctrination camp of Zionism And no is the Israeli army for the Haredim. No country has a right for forced religious indoctrination for people. No country has a right to come and say, let me teach you about Judaism. America would not tolerate if the American army would start teaching about Christianity in the army, that the government knows about Christianity and what a good Christian is. England would not tolerate if the British army would do that. What right does an army have to do such a thing?
Right. No, I was just curious on that point.
So if we're talking about taking all Jewish identity out of Israel and making it Canada. By the way, I'm not joking. In theory, I know it's not happening, but in theory, if Trump would buy Israel and make it the 51st state, that would satisfy definitely all the anti-Zionist Orthodox Jews. It would be great. Now, one democracy, if it's not going to be the 51st state, it'll be its own state. But a state like America, Canada, Australia, you could separate. Or you want one thing: separate church and state in Israel. Get rid of the nationality. That's all you need. And people.
I think you're speaking for a real minority, though. Is the only thing here.
It depends what you mean, minority.
I mean, when you say it would satisfy all the Orthodox Jews.
but I'm saying from a religious perspective.
Yeah.
But it would satisfy a heck of a lot of other people too.
Okay.
The people who are fighting in the Supreme Court, all the people that want peace, the people who believe, like the Zionists themselves.
I don't think they want to be, a part of America as such.
That part I'm joking about.
Okay.
I'm just saying a thought experiment.
Sure, yeah,
But I'm saying if they would become their own state,
sure, yeah,
then that would be great. Here I have over here from the same JPPI report.
Yeah.
They say the differences between the different levels of religiosity in Israel, the secular Jews, the Orthodox Jews, is not merely, and they're right about this, but they had to take a survey for it, is not really in how religious you are. It's the definition of a Jew, its identity, what the whole country is about.
Is built on.
That what?
What the country is built upon.
What's it built upon? What a Jew is, the whole identity of everything. That's why Israel has so many elections. Because they can't even decide. In America, we know what America is. We know why it's here. We know what it stands for. We know who the Americans are, right? The question is right-wing, left-wing, whatever, okay? In Israel, they can't even decide. There are such disagreements between factions. What Israel is, what a Jew is, what a Jewish state is, why Israel exists.
Well, it's pretty young as a state, though, isn't it? And these things usually happen early on.
But it's not because they haven't worked this out yet. United States has a constitution. We worked it out from the beginning. We have some amendments and we developed it. But at the beginning, we're also pretty young, the United States, compared to England, compared to the European countries.
Yeah.
1776, right? So we worked it out at the beginning. Everybody knew what America stood for. There was a reason we made America, right? We had a constitution. We had a Declaration of Independence.
Excluded blacks.
I know it. What?
It excluded blacks, didn't it?
That's true.
Well, that's a massive difference between what it stood for then and what it stands for now.
Wait.
We're talking 400 years and 300 odd years.
It's two different things. It's not what it stands for. You're talking how it behaves. There's no question that America, like the rest of the world, has become much more liberal from 1776 to today.
It's not just a case of liberal.
It changed a lot of the laws and made more equal rights. But when we started, we had a starting point. There were things that needed to be fixed. There are people who they had slavery. They did have slavery. Slavery was legal when America happened, right? Fine. So that was a contradiction, really, to what America stood for. And they had to realize it's a contradiction, and they had to have a civil war.
No, it's what they stood for at the time.
Well, they didn't stand for slavery.
Can look at.
It's not in the Constitution that we're here to make slaves.
But it did exclude black people.
It did exclude them. It did.
As Israel currently excludes non-Jews.
It's not the same.
Self-determination.
It's not the same. Israel makes them equal citizens, but it says we are not the country of this nation. In other words, it never said we are the country of the white people. And therefore, blacks are like Canadians or Mexicans. That's not what it says.
It said there are slaves.
That's right.
That's potentially worse.
It is, but it's a different type of fix that's needed.
Right, but my point is then, it's a different type of fix that is needed.
You're looking at
America took hundreds of years to get to this point.
that's a different problem.
I'm just saying.
No, it's a different problem they're trying to solve.
And I'm no fan of Israel.
It's a different problem they're trying to solve.
Yeah.
There, it's inherent. It was in the human condition. Racism, that women aren't equal. They didn't have votes either at the beginning, right? Etc. That was part of humanity. Western civilization believed that. There was something in the people that was bad that had to be fixed. Very simple. People had to evolve. I don't mean biologically.
Right.
People had to evolve. And the country reflected the people, right? In Israel, even if...
It didn't reflect the black people.
It reflected the people that made the country.
Yeah, and Israel reflects the Jews, that means.
No.
The Jews within it.
No.
It doesn't?
No, it doesn't. Because the Jews over there believe that Jews, and that's what I'm saying, it doesn't. Do Jews believe in Israel that non-Jews are inferior, the way Americans believe that blacks are inferior?
I can't answer that question.
After what I said, based on what I said, is that the problem? Is there any evidence or reason to believe that it's true?
There's certainly, massive racism.
That's not my racism.
Yeah, just give me your question again, exactly, precisely.
Do you believe?
Yeah.
You said that, like America, slavery reflected the American humans, right? The people that made the country.
I'm saying they had that starting point.
Yes,
yeah.
at that point. Israel reflects the attitude of the Jews. Do you think that the attitude of the Jews to non-Jews is similar, comparable, and therefore the same type of problem? I'm not saying better or worse, but the same type of problem as the white people's attitude towards blacks, towards women, an inferior, superior type of human being sort of thing?
Well, are you asking me if the sentiments are the same?
Similar. The same, they're not. I know you're not going to say they're the same, but are they similar? Is it the similar type problem? Is it the human that needs to
From what
evolve?
I hear, I do get that impression.
Okay, so everything I said should take away that impression, or at least render it unnecessary. Because what the Israelis did, of course there's racism. There's racism there against even black Jews.
Yeah.
Or
this is what I'm saying.
Or
Yeah,
Sephardic Jews.
yeah.
That's true. But that has nothing to do with, but don't make the mistake to think
it's
that's the issue with the Palestinians, with the West Bank. Even if the people in the West Bank would be, I don't know what, perfectly white supremacy, it wouldn't make a difference. The issue is not a question of an inferior human being versus a superior human being. The issue is that Israel, every country is made for a certain group of people.
I follow you.
Israel was made for a nation like all nations.
Yeah.
There's the French nation, the German nation, the Italian nation, and the Jewish nation like the Kurds. Imagine the Kurds would one day get together and find a land, Kurdistan, maybe even fight a war somewhere in Turkey they'd get, right? Let's just say.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you're a Kurd, this is your country. If not, you need to convert to the Kurdish, whatever it is, to be it. But they would not give equal rights to people who are not Kurds. That would be a problem with the country, but it's not a question of inferior, superior. This country is Kurdistan. It's made for Kurds. If your father was a Kurd, there's a law of return. It's made for Kurds. Everybody else has rights, but only Kurds have rights to self-determination. So long we were looking for a country. We were persecuted, the Kurds, Yazidis, whatever you want, right? We were persecuted. Now we have our own land. You don't like our laws? Yes, our laws are preferable to Kurds. This is the nation state of the Kurds. This is the shelter for Kurds or Yazidis, whatever, all over the world. That's not a superiority, inferiority, same thing like whites versus blacks. They didn't say this is the country of the whites, of the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, America. They didn't say that. They thought whites are superior to blacks. Men are more reason to give them voting rights than women, whatever. It was an idea of human inequality. This is a citizenship structure. This is a nationality structure. Just like in England, people who are there, who are not British citizens, have less rights. I'm certain that's true.
People who are there, who are not British,
Right.
as in immigrants.
Wherever, they came illegally, whatever it is.
Oh, right, okay.
Or even legally, but they're not citizens.
Okay.
They have less rights.
I don't know the law well enough to...
Let's assume they do.
Okay,
It wouldn't be a major problem.
Okay.
That Israel doesn't work on citizenship, it works on nationality. Converts to Judaism are part of the nation. It doesn't make sense because Judaism is a religion. And I have no problem if they would say it's the Jewish nationality and you would have a way, let's say it would say...
Of becoming part of it.
Of becoming part of it, to be naturalized, right? Let's say the Palestinians could become Israelis and then have equal rights as the Jews. That would be fine, right? Like, again, like America annexed the Mexicans and they became Texans, right? That's normal, right? There could still be racism, but that would solve the problem. That's the solution.
So Zionism is this is, if I can summarize and tell me from, right or wrong. Zionism is a core issue, the ideology that dates back, 100 or so years. This is a core issue that is not being discussed by your estimation.
It's not understood
enough.
what it is.
Yeah. And it's at the core of all of these offshoot issues.
That's right.
And the remedies are essentially Israel needs to become a state of its citizens.
A way
Those
to
that
be
live
naturalized into an Israeliness like a normal country.
and the sort of discrimination.
That you don't even need to do that because once you do what I said,
would end it,
there
is
wouldn't
what I'm
be.
saying,
It's not. It's discrimination against people who are not the nation.
Yeah.
But change
I'm
that.
with you, indirectly it would,
change the citizenship structure, which is based on this nonsensical idea that the Jewish people are a nationality and Israel is its state.
Yeah.
Now, I have spoken to many people about this, Palestinians too, and a lot of people, they don't want to talk about it. You know why?
Why?
This is...
Mossad.
No, not Mossad. Because this is... for you, let's
Normalizing.
say, let's say as a Muslim, right? Yeah. To have a discussion about what Jewish identity is, or what, it's an internal issue between the Jews. All we want is don't bomb Gaza. That's the attitude I get by a lot of people. But
I can see that being the primary concern. I mean, children are being blown up.
That's fine.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, the best thing for everybody involved in the world, including the Israelis. And again, when I say something like this, so you're going to get some comment on the video. Oh, he's only concerned about the Israelis. He's a supremacist. That's not what I mean to say.
Sure.
I mean that even from
people will always say things,
from the Zionist Israeli, most, even setting aside the major problem of people getting killed in Gaza. Forget about that for now, okay? Not because it's not a problem, because I want to discuss something else right now. The root cause of all of this is a messed up, incoherent, bad in all ways possible ideology called Zionism. And people need to study that, to understand that. And the answer is sitting there in front of everybody on a silver platter. And the proof is they had Supreme Court cases in Israel about this. They did. Had the Supreme Court in Israel ruled differently, so many things in Israel would be different. And you saw that they said that the nation-state law, many people believe, is a big impediment to the peace process.
Right.
So I agree with them. I'm just giving you a shortcut. I'm saying you don't need wars to get this done. The main thing I'm saying is like the kiting of the checks. There really is no Jewish nation. There really is no state of the Jews. Even if there would be a new Jewish nation, what made Israel its state? The whole thing is smoke and mirrors, like the Wizard of Oz. Just, open the curtain.
Yeah.
The whole thing is a fake. And once the whole thing is exposed as a fake, I know the time's late. One more thing I want to make over here. I have over here a very important document.
Yeah.
The Hasbara Handbook.